Hey, class professor Kev here. This week we talked about should companies allow their employees time off to celebrate religious holidays. You all agreed? Yeah, of course, as long as it's feasible. But here's the challenge. I had a student, their response in the past, I really liked it. She's like, Kev, my question, why do we have to put labels on days? Why not give everyone X number of floating days they can do whatever they want with them? Celebrate holidays, have to make doctor's appointments. It just makes it easier and fair. Yeah, I like that. So right away we go to scheduling. Whenever this comes up in my working for the last 40 years, yeah, but how about scheduling? We need to keep the place open. This is where maturity comes in. My friend was a nurse for years, worked in labor and delivery, delivering babies. When she was younger and her babies were younger, she got the time off. The more experienced people, the older employees, would cover. Then she became that person. She covered for the next generation. They just worked out amongst themselves. Hey, I'm going to work Christmas. I'll have Thanksgiving off, whatever. It worked. And I like that approach because it just seems fair. Years and years ago, I was working at CVS, assistant manager, and my manager loves Thanksgiving. So she likes to have her whole family over, and have fun. I don't remember being open, but we opened that year. And she was like, I'm like, there's no I'm in my early 20s. I live at home. My family eats at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thanksgiving. We're only open till 2 or 3. Come in, I'll cover it. That way you get to have time with your family. That's respect. That's working out amongst ourselves. And that's exactly what you should be doing. You shouldn't be fighting over who's working what days. This is where maturity comes in. But it makes sense because now people feel valued. We all have different holidays. I got friends, that they're married to someone who has a different faith than they do. So then it's like double holidays. They get the days they can allocate them whatever way they want. And it's fair. It's not like, well, this religion has 12 holidays. I only have 8. So I'm not getting, 4 days. If we give everyone the same amount of time, it's fair. But it's challenging though. If you're a small business owner and you're trying to run a business and you have people with vacation time, and paid time off, sometimes it's going to be challenging and you might have to figure out a way to make it work. Years ago, working at the credit union, they went off seniority. Hated it because I didn't have seniority. There was a person on our team, January 1st. I'm not lying. January 1st, she'd walk in, request every 4th of July, every holiday. If there was a Monday holiday, she'd take the Friday and the Tuesday. No one could get anything. And we're like, that stinks, but they're like, hey, that's how we do it based off seniority. Hopefully, people have the maturity to kind of find the middle ground on this and not just go off of, who's got seniority and stuff. So, like I said, it makes sense because then people feel valued. Although they don't celebrate the same holidays I do, they respect me enough to let me honor my holidays by giving me time off. That makes people feel valued and special. It makes them feel appreciated. That is important. And for me, I remember working at the bank day after Thanksgiving. My boss never wanted to work. Now, class respectfully, he's president. I'm the senior vice president. People in banking really didn't like having to work the day after Thanksgiving or the day after Christmas. I always worked. I'll take the day. I'm like, president's taking the day. I can't expect my team, my staff, to come in the day after Thanksgiving. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I mean, could I have taken a holiday day? Yeah, could have, but it's the image. Didn't look right to me. So I would go in I knew it was important. I'm like, hey, I know you want to take Thanksgiving the day after. You are the president. Respect to your title, our friendship. Take that. I'll cover it. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find the middle ground, cover for each other so that everyone feels welcomed and needed and everyone gets the time off they want. But it does take some coordination and people finding a way to say, you know what? All right, I know that one's important to Kev. I'm going to give it to him. And or even just rotating a year. Hey, I'm going to have to cover Christmas this year. You got it next year, bud. That works too. But again, I think it is super important, but it is sometimes just challenging. I worked in very small companies. We just didn't have a lot of employees. Like, okay, we can't give half the team the day off. Working in a bank, we can't give everyone, the days off they want, assuming the bank's open, because we need certain amount of people just to run the operation. If we have four tellers and they all want the day off, it's not practical. Got to find a way to make it work. And that's where things start to get a little rough if people don't have maturity to say, you know what? My babies aren't young anymore like yours are. I'll cover that day because I know it's important to you. All right, so that's my thoughts. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a truly dazzling day.